welcome to Take the Weight Out of Weight Loss with your host, Natasha D'Souza. Here we'll be discussing the challenges and strategies for managing emotional eating and achieving sustainable weight loss. Join us as we explore the science and psychology behind emotional eating and weight loss while learning how to make lasting changes in your life. Well, hello, and welcome to Take the Weight Out of Weight Loss podcast. Today we're going to be discussing 3 ways to solve overeating. Before we even get to how we can actually solve overeating, let's get started by discussing what overeating actually is and if it's something that you engage in. So, overeating is a common problem. It affects many of us. And by us, I mean me as well. I am a recovered overeater. It can lead to health issues such as obesity, diabetes, heart disease. But why do we overeat in the first place? Many factors that can contribute to this: stress, boredom, emotional eating, my favorite topic, are all common causes. People may also overeat due to a lack of self control or an unhealthy relationship with food. So now we've discussed what overeating is, but let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into how we feel after we overeat. That not so easy feeling, that bloated feeling, that feeling of guilt. How many of us have been there? How many of us have woken up the next day after an overeating episode and said, okay, I've got to do damage control. I've got to make up for all the calories that I've eaten yesterday, only to end up at the end of the day by eating more than you have done the day before. In short, this is also called the binge and restrict cycle, where you have an overeating episode, you've eaten to mass capacities, and then the next day you're trying to make up for it. I'll be honest with you, I know I've been there. I know I've had multiple overeating episodes where I've eaten to the point of feeling sick, eaten to the point where I was in so much pain, I had to lie down. I had to go take a nap, only to wake up an hour or two later. I'm laughing now, but it's not that funny. Absolutely not that funny. But only to wake up an hour later to get back to eating my food that I told myself I'm not going to touch. I mean, how crazy is that? Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we push the limits and the boundaries so far to make ourselves feel sick? It's basically to numb out how we feel, numb out the emotions that we're experiencing, whether it be the sadness, the loneliness, the anxiety, whatever it might be, it is to numb it out. And that's exactly what I did. I numbed out every single thought and emotion. This is why I walked around feeling the happiest version of myself, because I never really allowed myself to feel and express those emotions. Now, you're probably going to say, Natasha, but I'm not sad. I'm not lonely. I don't have anxiety, but I'm still overeating. Well, guess what? You're doing it out of boredom then. You're doing it out of habit, right? There has to be something that's involved for you to get yourself to eating to a point that there is no control. Eating to a point that you feel that, oh, I might as well finish this whole box of cookies because it's too late now. I've already had a quarter of it. I've already had more than half of it. I might as well finish it now and worry about it tomorrow. There's always a reason. There's always a reason why we choose to overeat. There's always a reason why we choose to use food at times where we feel the most vulnerable, at times where we feel the most anxious. It's because we don't know how to express it. We don't know how to tell people how we really feel. We don't know how to tell ourselves how we really feel. And we've been doing it for so long, so long. We've actually become expert overeaters. That's right, I said it, an expert overeater. But if you are an expert overeater, know this: it's never too late to change. Never too late to take responsibility of your actions and gain control over food. Because once you learn that skill, once you learn how to control your emotions and your actions around food, guess who has the power? That's right, you. You have the power of what you put into your mouth. You have the power to choose to say no. You have the power to have one cookie and stop. And what are those solutions? What are the solutions that we can start trying as of today to get you to stop overeating? Well, first things first, identify your triggers. What are the triggers around you that are causing you to overeat? Now, before I share this exercise with you, it's quite important to remember that if you want to stop overeating, if you want to gain control of how you overeat, you need to put weight loss aside for just a moment. You can't simultaneously do both at the same time. You cannot simultaneously understand what your triggers are, what pushes you over the edge, what makes you do what you do by trying to lose weight at the same time. I'm not saying weight loss is not the goal. You will definitely get there. You will prioritize weight loss, but first understand your psyche behind why you actually overeat. You can do this simply by taking a paper and pen for about 3 to 7 days and just noting down every time you get the urge to eat. Every time you've had a meal, but you want to go back for seconds. Every time your kids have gone to bed or everyone's fast asleep, but you still feel like eating. Note it. Note the time, note the date, note how you feel. This is why I don't encourage any sort of weight loss regime at this time, because how can you be your natural self if you're trying to control yourself? How can you get out those habits and understand what they actually are if you're trying to be on a diet, if you're trying to be on a calorie deficit? This is exactly why. Identify those triggers. What's the food in your household that's causing you to not just have one, but maybe have 10? Who are the people you are around that you usually tend to overeat with? What are the environments that you're in? Is it at work? Is it at a friend's house? Is it usually at dinner? At a restaurant? Identify those triggers, because once you know those triggers, you'll be able to understand better why you do what you do and how you can then find alternatives and solutions to those time periods, to those people, to those environments, and move forward from there. The next tip to solving overeating is practice mindful eating. Start understanding your body's hunger. Start understanding your fullness cues. If you've been an expert overeater for quite some time now, I can bet you don't really understand your hunger signals. You don't really understand when you're truly full and how to stop. Instead of eating your item of choice and thinking, this is so bad for me, I need to stop, actually sit down and enjoy your snack. Actually sit there and tell yourself, okay, I've had two now. Does that feel okay for me? Does that feel sufficient? Do I really need to go back for more? 9 times out of 10, the reason why we keep going back for more, it is because we're not even enjoying what we're eating in front of us. We're so focused on how bad the food is, on how bad it is for us, on how guilty we'll feel, that we're not even enjoying the moment. We're not even enjoying the experience. So start practicing mindful eating. Start being present with your food. Start responding to your body when it's hungry. Start respecting your body when it's full. And the third way you can solve overeating is by developing healthy coping strategies. Once you've identified those triggers, it's now time to find solutions for them. It's now time to understand, what else can I do? What else can I include in my routine so that every time I am triggered, every time I am angry or frustrated, my first response is not food. I sometimes have clients message me during their moments of urges, and they say, Natasha, just messaging you and explaining to you how I feel makes me not want to binge anymore, makes me not want to overeat anymore. So, your coping strategy could be anything. Could be talking to a friend, could be doing your skincare, could be exercising, meditation. Do something else to distract your mind from the habit it's developed over the years. Personally, for me, my coping strategies range anywhere from going for a walk, playing with my cat, doing skincare. Oh, God damn, I love doing skincare. That's like me time. The minute I start doing skincare, it's like I forget every urge. I forget everyone. I just want to sit there for a good 10, 15 minutes, take care of myself, give me time. Those are the things that take my mind away from feeling bored. Those are the things that take my mind away from thinking about what's in the kitchen, what can take away this urge to binge. That's me time. And once you find your me time, your coping strategy that you can go to, the urges to binge just get easier to handle. It's going to be something that you sought for every time you find the urge to overeat. You know what I hear from my clients? Every time we identify their triggers, they start practicing mindful eating, they start learning different coping strategies, going for a walk, watering their plants, going for maybe a massage, a pedicure in the evening rather than sitting home in front of the TV and eating. They find that they are not broken, that they too can live and maintain a healthy lifestyle, can control themselves around food, and food doesn't control them. And it's then and only then that they feel comfortable and I feel comfortable to go to the next part of the journey, that being weight loss. Because now that you've identified your triggers, now that you've identified the bumps on the road, the solutions on how you can potentially handle them, you can start going into a calorie deficit. You can start working out. You can start substituting items in your household for healthier options because you have the solutions to cope with moments of urges. All right, folks, that's all from me today. For more information on overeating, binge eating, emotional eating, and how to get started on your weight loss journey, sign up for my newsletter at www.natasiadesouza.com. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us on Take the Weight Out of Weight Loss podcast. We hope you find the information and strategies discussed helpful on your journey with emotional eating and weight loss. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes, and see you next week for a brand new episode.